Hi, I'm here today with Tim McCarthy of Nikko Asset Management. Hi Tim, thanks for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
Hi, I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about where you see some of the key opportunities in Asia.
Well, I think that a lot of times people look just at China, it's so large, and I think what they often miss is just how many other countries and companies are benefiting throughout the region. How many companies in South Korea, for instance, and even Australia and New Zealand are benefiting from this massive growth, not only in China but in India. Now we're even seeing in Malaysia and the like benefiting, Indonesia benefiting. So that what's happened is you've seen China and India, their massive growth has then fueled a lot of growth in the other countries.
Sure, and you know, I've heard various opinions about China. Some say it's a bubble, some say it's a short-term opportunities, others long-term. What do you think?
I think a couple of things that are important. And that is that oftentimes people in a more stagnant culture or stagnant economic environment think, oh my God, it's gone up so much, it must be a bubble. Yeah. What they're not looking at is at the same time it's been growing, it's been very much growth fueled, economic growth fueled increases in stock prices. And so therefore, is it really a bubble when the reality is these companies have been growing so much?
Yeah.
And so even when you look at a lot of the PEs and standard kinds of factors, you don't see that they're that out of whack. Certainly, I remember when I was living in the U.S. during that high-tech bubble or the internet bubble, late 90s, you were seeing 70, 100 plus PEs there, and that was out of whack. You don't see that in China, and the government has done a very good job in trying to keep down excesses and the like.
Sure.
So even if there is, naturally we saw in the U.S. and Europe over the different decades, there's always ups and downs in a market, but we're not seeing something where we're massively overvalued.
Sure.
The foundation is too strong there.
Sure. And sort of touch upon emerging markets. Do you feel that fund managers and investors are taking opportunities of the region there?
Yes. Well, it's interesting. You still see, I just did a trip through the U.S. talking to a lot of institutional investors, and even surprised here in Europe. Still, they often look at the emerging markets like there are a lot of little countries that don't have it together yet.
Yeah.
There's still that sort of Western colonialist overtone in how they talk. Like, oh well, it's an exploitive opportunity. I'd maybe be 5% if it looks good, 0 if it's not. And what they're missing is the fact that so many of these countries now are really strong.
Yeah.
They've got massive positive balance of payments, massive currency reserves, much lower debt relative to Europe and the U.S., and in fact they look a lot stronger than the U.S. and Europe. They are now the creditors even. And so it's changed quite dramatically. And then if you look the next 5 years at like the IMF statistics, looks like the emerging market category is going to be over half, about 56% of the GDP growth.
Yeah.
And then you look and say within that, half of that is going to be Asia. So all of a sudden you're saying, my God, people are talking about investing 5% or 8% in an area that's going to be 50% of the growth the next 5 years. That sounds like the whole category of Asia, even ex-Japan, emerging markets should be core.
Really?
A core investment rather than a speculative kind of.
Do you think these attitudes will change? Do you think, over the next few years, more fund managers, more investors are going to demand emerging markets?
I think they'll have no choice.
Right.
As Europe and the U.S. are no longer the developed world, they are the borrowed old world.
Yeah.
And as Asia in particular just keeps on making more and more money, they'll get forced into saying, oh, maybe this is not an exception.
Sure.
It always amazes me talking to Western portfolio managers and saying, oh, I don't know about Korea, Kim Jong-il, and it's like, we've been making so much money there for so long, when are you going to wake up?
Sure.
Yes. The Anglo-American view of Asian emerging markets is really just eventually going to die, whether or not each individual fund manager decides to participate.
Sure. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that insight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.